It's on.
So let's just start with Q&A.
All right. So I think most of the questions I'll have are going to be related to the build yesterday. So I think I followed along. Okay, so here's the first one is it's a DMF related question. So the partitions we set up, we have spool, we have journal, we have all of that.
Yes.
So when the install happens for DMF, how does it know? I'm trying to think.
So you have to set those file systems up and pre-existing. When you install the software, those don't have to exist yet because the software is not installed in them. But when you initialize the DMF service, then it's going to be using those 7 file systems.
Okay. Here, I'm trying to think of a better way to phrase my question. What I'm thinking is, so where exactly would the application files for DMF reside? We have all these different partitions then.
The application files aren't in those partitions.
Okay.
The application files are in the MSP, and in our case, we're creating a disk MSP1 file system that will contain, I think it was 5 LUNs that were 8+1. So the actual assets of the user environment are off in the MSP. In our case, we're creating a file system for it. It could be tape, it could be NFS, FTP, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So the only thing that's in those /DMF file systems are daemon services, the database engine to figure out, we go to an inode, the inode gives us that bfid handle type of thing out of the inode's attributes, then DMF from that can find the asset in its files that are off in the DSK MSP1 file system we're building.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So
we have 2 file systems, by the way, /archive and /home. And then DMF, when it sees either of those filling up, will then take files, mark them offline, set up the database and the attribute fork in the inode, and then to put the file off in the both file systems will go off into that archival DSK MSP1, and the second copy will be DSK MSP2, which is the NFS server that is the second box.
Okay. Okay. So that part makes sense. All right. I think that was the only major question I had right now about DMF. I'm probably going to get a lot more.
Yep. And there's a DM check that we have to pass, and DM check is going to look for some of these unique attributes, like the 2 devices, journal and home being separate devices and stuff like that. So DM check will sanity check things, including the license, before we actually start the service. Okay. And even once I start the service, that doesn't mean I'm going to have home under DMF management yet. So in dmf.conf, I specify which file system I want to manage, and we'll probably phase that in and put /archive under DMF and stress it, and not have the user asset homes under DMF management yet until we're happy. All right.
All right, that follows. That's good. The second question then is going to be is also related to the build yesterday. So I followed with YAS and everything we were doing there. Okay, here's a more fundamental one. So we spent a lot of time yesterday with the volume groups. We had to set some cases EXT versus XFS. I'm a little bit confused. So there are 2 parts to it. First, would the kernel be smart enough to figure out what file system it's talking to? And the second thing is, why did some of those groups have to be EXT versus XFS?
The only one we had to have EXT was /boot, because the BIOS doesn't understand /boot, or I mean understand XFS.
Okay.
So only the first partition. We could have built all the partitions without LVM. In fact, that's historically the way I always did it, was the root would be non-LVM, but the LVM has the advantage of growing and moving and stuff like that. So basically, we took our root disk, and then we created a partition table, and we created our first partition, which was /boot 1 gig that was extended 3. We could have gone fat, but then we're down to 256 meg in size. So on the UVs, it's typically, it has to be a FAT on the UVs, and then we're limited to 256 meg for that /boot EFI file system. So after we have that first /boot file system, we took the rest of the drive and created a single partition and then marked it as an LVM or a RAID, MD. And I mixed up yesterday and started chasing down because I'm used to XVM, but anyway, we tried to build LVM on the NVMEs, and then I realized, oh, we wanted RAID 5, not just striping. So LVM came after MD, and LVM does not have RAID configuration choices. It just puts volumes together.
Right.
So we created that partition and marked it with a flag that actually is in the partition table, and parted as a way of setting that flag to say, this is an MD device or this is an LVM device. And that bit is set in the partition table. And then during the boot process, the kernel looks at all the drives and says, oh, we've got an MD flag set here, or I've got an LVM drive set here. And then it knows a little bit more of kernel modules to load and how to deal with that.
Okay. So
out of that second partition that we marked as an LVM partition, then we created a volume group out of that partition. Now, today we're going to create volume groups out of multiple partitions. But yesterday for root, it's just one partition for that volume group. So volume group's just taking a whole bunch of LVM partitions out there and putting them together as a single logical or single volume. And then out of that single volume, we carve out logical volumes, and we created a slash and a temp and a swap within that volume group. How's that?
Okay. That makes some more sense. I guess I'm still
it's more complicated with LVM, and I don't know. I just always again with SGI, we didn't have LVM. We had XVM, and XVM was not allowed on root, so I never used LVM on a root until about a year ago or so, 2 years ago here.
Right.
Go ahead.
I guess what was interesting to me is I was just trying to understand the design differences between EXT and XFS. Why would
they're just different developers, different companies? EXT3 came from Red Hat, XFS came from SGI.
Okay.
They have internal structures. Again, the newer file system now is BTRFS, but only for root, because Butter has the ability of doing snapshots and stuff of the root file system.
Okay.
So even on SLES11, your root might default to Butter, but then all the data file systems default to XFS. So XFS has pretty much become the de facto file system out there. Now SGI actually has their own enhanced XFS that has additional features and things within it versus the community XFS. Because then SGI back in the 80s and 90s put out OpenGL, Performance Copilot, XFS, variety of other things that got picked up by the community.
All right.
Go ahead.
I think that's most of my questions. I was just interested in yesterday with the just trying to understand the structures and a little bit more about the layout of the system. The diagram we had helped, so I understood where everything belonged.
Sure.
But
again, I'm not going to pick on you, but I'm saying you're inside the box tearing it apart as a programmer, and I'm just saying it's a box under test. I'm outside and throwing crap at it.
Right. Well, that's my upbringing.
Yeah, no, but we're going to get to that point when we get into the advanced system admin class and pull apart XFS and stuff in more detail.
Sure. Okay.
Now,
then
again, this is a catch-22 anytime. Normally when I'm running a class, they already have a system and we're going to take a look at it versus our scenario where we just got a system in the door and now we have the opportunity to make some decisions and apply the methodology I've been describing for this configuration and then put it up for a month and then tear it apart again.
Okay. Well, I think that's all those are the big questions I had right now. I didn't have as many because of the exam this morning.
Sure. No. By the way, overnight, I've now got a script that's running FIO to create a table basically of all the different bandwidths and IOPS based upon the request size, 4K up to 2 meg and stuff. I'm just messing with it, so it's about 40 lines.
Sure.
But I'm not finding what I want in FIO where I want to fire off multiple threads. So when we've been testing with like that GUI and stuff, that was just one thread, one process doing I/O, not 20 people or 20 different programs or 20 different MPI threads or something like that doing I/O. And that was the other dimension in the stress test to say, okay, we're looking at different types of RAID configurations, different kinds of request sizes, different types of I/O patterns, sequential, random, that sort of thing. And I wanted the one more depth, which would be the stripe unit size on the RAIDs. And then the whole problem, how do you put all this together and make sense of the data?
Yep.
And that's where that one drawing I had with the dots kind of was one way of doing it. So anyway, I'm trying to whack around and just, fudge something together. And we'll get into that when you get back from your trip.
Okay.
Anything else?
Not right now.
Okay, well, let's get started. Now, first of all, I did want you to change the admin password on the BMC.
Okay. Let me do that now.
Again, I'm making this machine completely yours so that you don't miss anything.
Okay. All right.
And at some point, we'll open it up more, but right now, especially with you gone for a week, I don't want to start stomping on your system because I want you to do the whole thing.
Sure.
So there should be a setting there for configuration.
Yep. Configuration.
Now, even after you do this, I can still break in.
Right.
Date, time. As long as I have physical access to the console. Users. Look under users.
There we go. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Modify user.
Yep. Oh. Admin. All right. Let me change password. Let me write it.
I don't. If I'm logged in to the OS, there's an IPMI tool command. I could still change it back and reset it. But if I'm not in and I'm not physically there, I don't know how to get in.
All right. I got my password written down on paper.
But yeah, if I can get to the system in a DVD drive or a Pixie boot, I can hack into the system.
All right. It's changed.
Okay. So the other thing now, we did a FirstBoot, and you were going to change the boot order. Checking. Did you ever get to fix the boot order?
No, I did not. Let me do that now.
Sure. So that means dropping into BIOS.
Yep.
Again, the reason here now is if you're gone and the system reboots or we get a power loss and I can't get in, at least get it to auto boot.
Okay.
Some, I think Postal preferred them to not auto boot and to sit down until somebody intervened.
Okay.
I don't care about that OS. Just do a power control reset.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I forgot you don't have to log in to do that.
Well, safety-wise, we do, but this is the CentOS route, and I'm not caring.
Right. Okay.
And as a trainer, I like to stress that kind of stuff. And in class, we'll physically remove a drive to create a MD mirror failure and, unplug it and see if we can mess it up just to see if we can repair it.
Yep. Yeah,
you got people that are security hackers. Some of us are just problem creators on purpose.
Yep.
My first job at Cray was midnight to 6 in the morning with a couple hundred dip switches in a Cray 1. And I just go in and flip a switch and smirk while they tried to figure out what I nailed.
Remember, one of the first real computers I worked on as a kid was a Windows 2000 that my dad was trying to build from scratch.
Ready for delete?
Yep. I hit it. And the problem we had was, I never did quite figure out all the problems, but we were trying to assemble it from its principal components, and that was how I found out, about the different kinds of processors at the time, and also about heat, the concept of a heat sink. That was one of the other big problems. But that was my introduction to the field. All right.
My heatsink nightmare was a TV. The power transistors to drive the vertical and horizontal circuits and stuff. The heatsinks are hot, and I had a Heathkit TV that I, built myself and stuff.
Sure.
But I didn't have a mirror, and I would be reaching behind with my probe, looking at the picture in front, and I got zapped a few times, cauterized fingers and stuff. Thrown across the wall because, again, that's not at 60 hertz. That stuff is much higher frequency and stuff.
Ooh. Okay.
And I knew a guy that used to stick his finger into the transformer and get the arc, but that was low current. Anyway, so interesting. So our boot order, go down to hard disk drive ESS.
Hard disk.
No, down, second to the bottom. Hard disk priorities. Keep going down. What there? That one. And I've seen this flip around. So there's our problem, is booting off a 3, not 2.
Okay.
So hit enter. No, go up. Go up one more. Hit enter. And now select 2. Go down. Oops. Try again. Hit enter. No. Yeah, hit enter, go down 1, and then hit enter again. There you go. You got it?
Yeah. Okay.
So every BIOS is different. This BIOS is rolling over. If the first one doesn't work, it rolls to the second one.
So let me ask this. You're talking about how things are changing with the BIOS, with the boot order. Is that just a quirk of how the BIOS is written in the first place?
I'd call it a quirk, a fluke.
Okay.
But I've had several times on these boxes where the BIOS order did get mixed up for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So when it doesn't boot and just goes to black or something, start with the boot order.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm supporting these things. I'm just talking aloud about our problems, and one of the signatures I've seen in the past week is that.
Okay.
So now, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand fully what's going on here. What's so different about these two SATAs? Because they're both super micro, but 2 is the one that we did. They're 2 different
ports. They're 2 different SCSI IDs. They're 2 different disks.
But we did all of our building on P2.
So P2 is the one that we built yesterday, and P3 was the CentOS that I've had up.
Okay. That makes sense.
So again, these are those DOM, disk on module, and we have 2 of them in there, which is typical for us. The second one I'm not really using right now, and that's why CentOS is on there. But along the way, I might make the second one a clone of the first one. So I might just copy it at a given, not daily copies, but basically this is a frozen clean root, clone it in case I use the root, I've got a second one to recover from.
Okay, that makes sense.
It might not have current log files and all that sort of thing, but it would still be a clone of the production root. And the other two SSDs are visible, but we're not using them. Okay. So F4.
Yep.
And then let's go back to power control and try a reset again.
Okay.
I just want to, right now, before we go any further, see that it's going to work properly.
Yep.
This is such a problem with people and manuals, and they don't always test that it will survive a reboot. And Tom did this last December with Oracle on Marvin, and then he didn't test the reboot, and a month later we rebooted and lost everything.
Yep.
So even the developers in Egan and stuff would write out code and never see if it survived a reboot, release code, and then, well, this doesn't even boot. How could you release this?
What's just as distressing, if not more, to me on that subject is most students I know, even at the university, don't test for that.
Yeah.
Which is something my dad is notorious for doing. So he, I think he actually he's probably done that for a couple of the projects that he assigns students, because he gives them real world projects, not some Hello World Pro. He'll give them a client, and I think I know once when he was doing his testing, they were vulnerable to a SQL injection, and in another case I don't know if it was with that class or maybe when my dad was a student, but they had a buffer override problem that actually caused the console to explode because they were working on an old legacy computer that was meant to play Space Invaders, and they actually had the console explode, which was very distressing at the time to the students, but served as a good lesson.
Yeah, toxic smoke coming from electronics always smells so sweet. I'm standing at USPS, so it did survive that. Standing at USPS when the UV had just been installed, all of a sudden we're going, I smell something just smoking.
Yep, I know that smell.
Oh, so high you can't tell exactly where it came from. People would laugh at me when I'd go to Best Buy and buy a flat panel TV or something. I'd crack the box open and smell it before I brought it home.
Yep.
And they'd say, why? I said, I can smell a burned transistor a mile away, and I've had several of those flat panels that had electrical smell.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's see now.
Okay.
So I'm going to my checklist. I never printed it out.
Oh yeah, let me do the same. This will take a second.
But even in that email, you pretty much had it.
Yeah. Let me pull up the document as well.
Sure. So in my advanced class, I just give them a spec sheet and say, build it to this. It's basically the same kind of test you'd have at Red Hat. And give them a spec, and they have to build it to that particular specification and then test them.
Yep. Yep. That's why I'm actually getting excited about doing the second build on my own.
Sure.
Back.
Yep. You can do it several times. You'll get sick of it.
Well,
when you start having the nightmares, then you're sick of it. Anyway, so we have a catch-22 here. The real issue is when to do the updates.
Mm-hmm.
So in some cases, you might want to update right away, or in other cases, get the system together and then do the update. The whole issue here really is how far can you go and not fall apart and have to start over.
Mm-hmm.
If you put too much work up front, like the installation yesterday, and it failed, then you've wasted a lot of time. So it's typical for me to try to get the first route built as quick as possible, and then fix up everything from there. Okay, so why don't you move that so I can see the checklist behind it too?
Sure.
So we've already, we're not too concerned about the IP address. We're going to keep it at 54 until we're done, but that all works. On FCL, it's FCL Server 1. I got to keep watching that. Go over there and just see if you can ping Google. www. Yeah. So that, go ahead, break out. That tells me DNS is working. That tells me that the gateway is working, and that the Ethernet interface is working, right? Okay. So we've installed the OS. The install server was .15 and /install directory. So we got some products there. Let's go into YAST.
Sure.
And again, I'm using YAST to make the concepts easy versus getting down to the command line, but going to software management. Hit enter. So it's tab to filter.
Yep.
Down arrow, up to patterns.
Oh, right. I remember this from yesterday.
So that you can do a search. It defaults to search, but this shows me by patterns. Go down to 32-bit. Okay, so it does show installed over on the right, but not on the left for some reason. So I'm not going to worry about that.
All right.
The mega rate storage manager wanted some 32-bit stuff. Okay, go on down, keep going down. And I think we got file server. No, I'm sorry. Go back, tab to the left to the patterns. Go to the patterns box and go down. I'm just sanity checking right now. Keep going down, keep going down. So we got minimal, we got GNOME. Do we have NFS server? There's the file server, yes. And the other one was C compilers. Keep going down. Oh, keep going down. There was one, we should probably select the web server. Where was that? That was up a couple.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's see.
Where's the web server one? Go up.
Web-based enterprise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Space bar should select it. No, back in patterns. Just see if you can select it as a pattern. Space bar. That's good enough. Okay. Now, what else did we want to? Everything else looks like it's in other repositories. So let's just do an accept.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Okay. I wonder how many man hours are lost reading legal notices on software. Let's go on to the bottom one now, software repositories.
Okay.
So we're going to add basically the SGI Foundation, the SGI ISSP, and the SLES SDK, Software Development Kit. Okay. So tab to add.
Yep.
And I like to do this stuff before you do an upgrade, or I'm sorry, update and register. No, we're going to go to NFS, sorry. NFS, there you are, space, tab to next. By the way, if you just specify local directory, see that download before you go on, that download repositories, if you deselect that, then it does not expect it to be a repository. So I can put RPMs in a directory and deselect that, and then it would find them. but we'll come back to repositories later. So server name 10.1.10.15. And then the path /SLES11-SP4-SDK. Oops, Control H. Oops. Backspace or delete. I don't know what's going on.
Had to use backspace.
Yeah. Now, we do have the possibility of pointing to ISOs and stuff, but basically Red Hat doesn't do that, doesn't allow that, so I don't use it very often.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to next. So that tells me that it got repositories, and select yes to the license agreement.
Yep. Have fun with those agreements. Once I was reading the ones for iTunes, and I agreed to not use iTunes to make nuclear weapons.
So let's add the next one, Foundation.
Yep. Now, for these Foundation one, is this something that is proprietary to SG?
No, Foundation is
okay.
not proprietary.
Okay.
And in fact, we only need 1 RPM out of it from my experience. ISSP should have everything in it. But the Foundation is required on all UVs.
Okay.
Has to be, or SGI won't support it, which is why CentOS is not supported, because Foundation won't work there. So /Foundation. No, you had it install. -2.15. Oops. One more. What? You're missing the 2. Back up. No, you're still.
2
there
dots.
you go.
I heard 2 dots, plural.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's over on the left. If you're following me, the spelling is over on the left too. /SLES11 SP4. That's why I have it up. I'm using it. Now, this was my naming convention. If I don't remember where it is or what version, I just log into the FCL server and do an ls on that install directory to see, for example, if I run SLES12, to see what SLES12 versions I have, and then get a newer one if I have to. So that path, basically all these are just check to see what's in /install if I already have it. Go on to next.
All right.
Foundation, by the way, does include Performance Copilot, but so does ISSP. Oh, so it doesn't like something. Abort. Go ahead and no. Let's add it again. Let's add it again.
All right.
Down to NFS. (10.1.10.15).
Oh.
No, we must have spelled the path wrong last time, but let me let me go check. Hang on here. Let me double check that is there.
Sure.
No, I'm not seeing that version there.
Okay.
Let's see. What the heck happened here? Hang on a second. Bring up another window and log into FCL-server.
Yeah. Huh. I can't get in.
You have to be inside the firewall. I think the
Oh.
VPN's blocking that port.
Yeah, my mistake. I keep forgetting that.
Oh, crap.
Hold on. All right.
Bear with me. I'm looking for the ISO for this.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
Mm-hmm.
I log into Trillion from that left box.
Sure. I'm in.
cat/itsy, no, yeah, on the left, there you are. itsy asterisk rel asterisk. And again, I'm kind of watching something else here. What's the, I don't see foundation installed. We've got the infinite storage installed, but I'm not seeing foundation on there, do I? Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hang on a second. So go back, I just wanted to see what I had there. Go back to FCL server.
Yeah.
I'm uploading I've gone off to SGI.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do already have it. So on FCL server, do amount -O loop space
Mm-hmm.
/home/DAW/FOUN tab. Try FOUN and tab it. Okay.
Yep.
/MNT. MNT is just kind of a loose scratch mount point. Go ahead.
Okay. Blocked.
Okay, so CD and do /install.
I'm already there.
So let's do a make dir. Oops, MK.
Oh,
No, back up. You got, okay. Space foundation -2.5. No, all one word. Yeah, there you go. 2.15. It's in the blue box. 2.15. You got an extra dot in there. There you go. /SLES11 SP4. Okay, so we're making the directory. So now let's do a CP-R /MNT into that foundation 215 directory. I don't know, actually, go ahead. I don't know if it got subdirectory. Do an LS on foundation. I think we're okay. Or did we get MNT in there? Yeah, CD in there. And then CD and MNT and just move it up. My mistake.
All right.
CD and do, yep, and then move that stuff up one directory. CD up a directory, get rid of that MNT.
All right.
You follow me?
Yep.
Oops.
It's done.
Okay, so now over on the right, see, see if we can find that now. So tab to next.
Yep.
But that's how you'd make any repository from an ISO. So now it found it. I thought when I built Trillion that I'd already done this. So good practice anyways. So here now, this is signed by SGI. And again, I have our PGB keys on download for our own repository on download.pencentric. So being able to ensure that that GPG key looks right, it's actually going to get saved on this system so that if the key changed, you'd be notified saying, hey, this isn't the same repository that I thought it was. Okay? So go ahead. And hit OK. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Back up. No, that's my mistake.
You got to add.
Tab to add.
We have one more.
We have one more to add.
ISSP?
Yep.
Okay, let me do this quick.
NFS.
All right.
10.1.10.15.
Yep. And then we want
/install.
Oops.
There we are. Looks like it.
All right. And
tab to next.
So what's the one thing that we need an ISSP?
Well, ISSP is everything. Data migration.
Oh, okay. I was just curious, what for UV, you said there was just one thing that was really needed.
For us, Foundation, we only needed 1 RPM. SGI was trying to make it such that the storage servers didn't need Foundation. So there's a lot of duplication between the different SGI distros, overlaps between RPMs, but there was problems with this, so we're going to go through it anyways. But it was asking for 1 RPM that was in Foundation that should have been in ISSP, but didn't make it.
Sure. But
we'll see what happens. Again, Foundation would be relevant on UVs and also on ICE. Okay. Go ahead.
I think we're good.
Okay, now go up to software management. And then you'll have new patterns in there.
Yep. All right.
So filter, tab, yeah, there you go. And then tab and go down. I'm expecting problems in here because their pattern is a little bit messed up, but let's just go down there. We're looking for the ISSP. We're looking for DMF in particular. There we are. So there's Foundation. I'm not worried about that yet. There's the SGI Management Center. There's DMF. So hit a space bar. And file actions will be done. So tab to the first one.
Yep.
And space bar.
Try again.
So this is a pattern problem. The way they've defined their patterns was giving a complaint.
Do we care about parallel?
No. So that would be in a cluster, and SGI has its own cluster system called CXFS.
Oh, okay.
But go down to NAS. That's the NFS server. And tab to the right. Actually, we don't even have to. You can see there's the enhanced NFS. And there's also enhanced XFS if you go down to the end of that. I want to make sure they're selected.
Hold on, I think I passed it.
No, it doesn't look like it's in that particular RPM. So let's tab to the filter again.
Yeah.
Hold it. Go down one more. That's okay. Go down one more. There we are. Let's look at that one, the common stuff. Keep on going. So there's our PCP stuff. There's a GUI in there.
XFS.
Yeah, I think that's already being added with the plus sign anyway, so that's okay. Keep on going down.
We're done.
Okay. So let's tab to accept. Actually, let's go to patterns. I'm sorry. Let's go up to patterns again.
Sure.
And change it to search. And tab to search phrase, git, G-I-T. We want to install that just for, go ahead, hit enter. Huh. It should have found it in the SDK. Backspace, let's try PCP-SGI. Hit enter.
Hold on. Let me try something. Oh, okay. Just wanted to check.
So I wanted PCP-SGI. Did that get installed?
Let's see. I don't see anything about SGI.
Yeah, okay. So let's just get out of there.
Cancel.
Let's see, and accept.
All right. Accept that. Okay.
And there's our web server.
Yep.
Now, even though we're installing DMF, we're not actually going to start it yet. I'm not worried about that A build thing. You know, every engineer should be forced to use their own product.
The advice that my dad told me is to never trust an electrical engineer that doesn't wire his own home. And I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Same deal with mechanics. Don't trust a mechanic that doesn't work on their own car.
Now, see, go back to the window on the left.
Yeah.
I'm overlapping here and getting fancy. Let's go back to the FCL server 1. I think just SSH to it. No, it won't. It break out of there. DNS does not have FCL server 1. You got to use the IP address still.
All right.
Or Ford 1. It's known as Ford 1. It was where we're stuck at.
All right.
No.
Oops.
54.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, annoying, I know. One of the SSH I'm using now prompts me and says, do you want to fix it?
All right. All right. 54 is gone. Try this again. All right. Let's see. Okay.
I'm waiting for the thing on the right to finish. But do a DF. We don't have anything on. So there's stuff that's in var ADM as a mount point, but we don't have anything in /MNT yet. Okay. So let's do a mount.
Yeah.
I'm going for the MegaRAID storage manager now. Oops, typo.
Okay.
Must be speaking French today. /home/DAW uppercase CD tab. Tab it.
I did.
So we don't have home on home. Oh, home's not mounted right. We haven't gotten that far yet. Never mind. Oh crap. Oh, I got it. Never mind. Home. This system home is going to be our new home when we're done. So we need to mount. Go ahead and backspace. Let's mount 10, 1, 10, 15, :/home. Let's put it into MNT. No. Yeah, that's fine. You can do, no. You could do DAW, that was fine. Space /M space /MNT. That's fine. Now try that prior mount.
All right.
Did we still have it there?
No, I never executed it.
MNT, uppercase CD tab.
There we go.
Oh, we got no place to mount it to.
oh, duh. Yeah, okay.
Let's
where do you
create
want
a second mount point. Make dir /MNT1.
Okay, I'm going to stop and ask one question here. I'm a bit confused. So we have /MNT1, but isn't that part of just the pre-existing file system? Why?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just the stuff for me to mount onto. I have to have a directory to mount something onto.
Okay. Okay, and then what I'm going to do from there is create, when we do this mount, I'm going to be adding the new file system onto that
mount point. You're attaching it to that directory.
Okay. I may be thinking more of this from a programmatic standpoint, but it just seems like there's only one file system then. We're just adding links to a big tree.
So the mount is creating a separate file system that is hooked to the original or attached to the original, but they're separate.
Okay. So an application couldn't
if it's not mounted right now, it would fill up root, but once I mount, it would not.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
So these are places to attach or mount to. You have to have something to mount it to. We need to back up. Oh, I guess that worked. LS on the MNT1?
Yep.
Yep. So CD into MNT1 /LSI, uppercase LSI. No. CD /MNT yet an extra slash in there. You got it? There you go. And then go ahead, LS. I think you want Linux. Oh, MSM. And then Linux. And then 64-bit. Oh, I'm sorry. Rev level 16. And then the bits. There you go, 64-bit.
Oops.
Okay, now over on the right, that repository stuff is all done, so there's no lock on any sort of RPM database. Also, the install script does not work, so just do the /uppercase run rpm.sh.
Oops, rum.
You're drinking too much, huh?
Not the biggest rum fan. I prefer beer.
Now notice I did get a minor failure on the end, but I'm not going to worry about that yet. That was SNMP stuff. And there is a ability to install an RPM and ignore the scripts that run, but we're just going to live with that error right now.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm looking right under your two windows there. MegaRAID Storage Manager has been installed now.
Yep.
Had the path in there. Tried to give you all the tips here. Let's register the system.
Okay.
If you can copy and paste that SUSE register line.
Yep. All right. One question about MegaRAID. That's not an SGI product, is it?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
It's an LSI product that's been OEM'd, different branding on it.
Oh, okay.
But the CD came from Supermicro, and that was the one that matched the BIOS that we have. The integrated one.
Yep.
So it looks like we registered. Now be aware, we're not going to log into Novell and look at our registrations, but we are abusing our registration code because we're only entitled for one machine and we're using it on more than one machine.
Oh,
but that's Steve's problem, not mine. As long as we don't get a security or an audit, software licensing audit. Okay, let's do a zipper update.
Yes.
Now, while that's happening, let's bring up another window. Where was that YAST window? You can break out of YAST there, but...
Yeah. All right, let me quit.
Quit out of there. CD into /lib/modules. LS. And do an LS on that. Okay, notice that this matches the rev level of the kernel. In fact, for me, CD out of that directory right now, or CD up one. Let's copy that directory. CP-R.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing.
Oh, hold on.
We need to list the file. CP-R 3-tab. And then space BAK.
You said the what level from the kernel earlier?
I missed
the red.
I missed the question still.
So what level of the kernel are we at with these modules? You said it was the red level or something? Just a moment.
Revision of the kernel.
Oh, okay.
So we're running do a uname-a. And this is real important. They got to match. So this is 63 kernel, and we got to have those things. If I update my kernel, but I'm PXE booting, and the kernel that's off on the PXE server isn't the same kernel, it will not have kernel modules to match the kernel I'm booting from. And then things like network interfaces don't work.
Okay.
This will also happen in an EFI FAT file system where the file system didn't get mounted. You upgraded a kernel, but the EFI partition wasn't mounted and did not get a newer kernel. So sometimes, for example, if I boot into rescue mode, I'm running on an old kernel, and I can't do things on that new kernel because I don't have matching kernel modules. Do an ls mod, and let's grep for, that's good enough. Do a mod info on NVMe, pipe it into more. Pipe it into more.
Hold on. Mod info NVMe.
Oops, NVMe. There we are, typing into more. So notice that path up there, file name, userlib 101.63 default. See all that? Okay, now do an RPM QA and grep for KMP. And on Red Hat, it's KMod instead of KMP for kernel modules. So when SGI builds a kernel module, you can see the kernel that it's built for. Notice these are all 63 kernels. Do an RPM QL on that first one there. KMP-default. You might have been able to end at the default, but that's good. Underscore 63. I don't know. Hit enter. Is that going to pick it up? So do it without the -37 stuff. Otherwise, we just paste. There we go. It would have worked if the whole thing had been spelled out too. So notice that kernel is at 63 default, right?
Yep.
We're installing a new kernel.
Oh, you're right.
So What SGI has, do an SGI-POST tab. That's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
What that's going to do is look for SGI kernel modules and then link them to the current kernel. So we're taking a 63 kernel module, but now the SGI post upgrade is going to call something called weak modules, weak update, which will actually just link into the newer kernel's tree.
Mm-hmm.
So some people will reboot and then they don't find SGI kernel modules because they upgraded the kernel, but they didn't run post upgrade.
Yep.
That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the kernel that's booting has to have a lib modules tree for the kernel modules to match that kernel. And that gets to be a pain when they don't match.
Right.
Do an RPM QA grep for kernel. And this is a pain in the butt because when it's upgrading, it's going to get rid of the old one.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's already started. The kernel source is at .94 now instead of .63.
Mm-hmm.
Do LS again. Do an RPM QF on that directory 3.0, 3.tab, enter. So notice it's part of the kernel.
Mm-hmm.
All those different kernel modules to find that particular directory. I'm just waiting for the update to finish here right now too. So every time you upgrade, you got to, and again, if I'm going to Pixie boot, I got to make sure I push this new kernel off to the FCL server to Pixie boot from to match the kernel to match this var lib modules directory.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I guess while we're waiting, is VNC server installed? Can you type in VNC server?
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it is. I remember.
Yeah, I think it is too. Yeah, I know. But over on the right, let's get a desktop going here.
Oh, hold on. Yeah. All right. Let me set up a new one. Oh, actually, hold on. This one.
Yep, there you go. The
Uh,
display's probably changed since then, though.
yeah.
And let's before you do that, I'll just get out of there. Do IP tables -L, and that shows we don't have any firewall up at all, so that's not a problem. So now just type in VNC, do a PS-E and grep for VNC.
Nope.
So type in VNC server.
All right.
Use your own. Don't use one I would know, or I can bring in.
Yeah. Let me write it down first. Yeah, you for the. All right.
By the way, right now it is installing the newer kernel now.
Uh-huh. So let me. Hold on. Okay.
So display 2, so your VNC there will work just fine.
All right.
Okay. Go to your. You got a funny desktop though.
Yeah, I know.
So we'll have to, this is coming in as root. We'll have to fix that startup script or something like that. CD into user local uppercase M tab.
What? Uppercase what?
Uppercase M and then tab it.
Okay.
/startup UI.
Okay.
Okay, so at least we got a GUI now. We're going to reboot before we do this, but click on that 54.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Put in your info.
This is the one for BMC.
It'll be root. This will be root. There's no
Oh.
admin account. That's just the BMC.
Okay, and I use my BMC password.
This would be your normal root password that you set yesterday.
Okay. Okay.
And we got 60 drives. So let's quit out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Over on the left, we're going to go ahead. You can kill that. We're going to come back in after the reboot.
Yep.
Woo! Black hole suction.
Yep. Okay. Let me log out of here.
Run that SGI-post-upgrade-
Oh, hold on. SGI-
post-upgrade- capital A little r dash.
Uh-huh.
No, in front. Dash A. There. There you go. Hit enter. So it's finding the kernel modules. See where it says weak modules 2? Add KMP. So it's running a SLES command called weak modules that's going to create that link. Over on the right now, instead of logout, do an LS. So notice we have a 94 in there already. CD into the 63.
Uh-huh.
LS. Pretty empty.
Yep.
CD into that one. Or actually just do an LS capital L. I'm sorry, capital R. My mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So right at the top there in the updates directory, I can see an XFS, tape migration, DMAPI. Those are kernel modules that were SGI specific. CD into the updates directory. LS. RPM-QF. On that, on xfs.ko. Oops, space. .ko. No, there you go. Enter. Okay, so see, it's coming from an SGI package, right? ls-l.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the real file. So now go into libmodules, splat94 splat. Oops, I don't know what you got going.
Hold on.
Start over. CD, no, CD. I don't know what you got going. CD /lib/modules We're going into the other kernel. There you go. And then *94*.
Yep. Okay.
And let's do a find a .-print. Oops. I don't know what you find space .-print grep pipe grep and xfs.ko. I don't know what's happened here. Oh, you're missing a space. Right there, space. There you go. Enter. Do an ls-l on those two files.
All right.
Yeah, the easiest to do it that way.
Except
Oh, you can't cut and paste on this console.
It's okay.
Oh, I'm a little surprised. Yeah, there we go. And there's what that script on the left just did. So it linked the one that was in the old kernel to this new kernel. Is that, you following that in general?
Yeah, I do.
So the actual file is still sitting in that old kernel tree. Most of that kernel tree was removed when we upgraded kernels. I, for one, wish that they would keep the old kernel there so that I have a rollback and a fallback. Anyway,
okay.
Questions?
Yes. What about the kernel? So I apologize in advance. This is me thinking as a programmer. But when you've got two kernels like that, the kernel is intrinsic to everything you're doing in the OS. So how do I change kernel parameters while I'm still logged in and using the kernel at a certain level?
Depends upon the kernel parameter. If it's a boot parameter, you have to reboot.
Okay.
But you also have /proc and the the sysctl command, sysctl-w, allows me to tweak kernel tunable parameters in the memory.
Okay. And as soon as I do that, those changes take effect immediately. It isn't like with
sysctl, it takes effect immediately. Though there are some of the tweaks there where the code itself might take a while to really figure it out or so. So I might be tweaking the flush daemon or something, and it might take a minute or two to really see the effect.
Okay.
And we will be doing that stuff coming up.
Yeah. No, I was just curious because I didn't know if you're doing something with spin locks on different kernel parameters. No,
and we'll come back to, but the spin lock's just a way to protect kernel structures from multiple CPUs at the same time. So you're still only running one kernel at a time. Do an ls on /boot. So there's where our kernels come from, VM Linux and initRD. And note, we don't have the 63 kernel in there anymore because the update just got rid of it. Everything's a 94 kernel now. Do an ls-l on that, ls-l on /boot. So you can see VM Linux and initRD are actually linked. So if I wanted a PXE boot, I'd have to push that VM Linux and the initRD files off to TFTB boot on the PXE installation server. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And this is not an install kernel. This is a runtime kernel. We're ready for a reboot if you're ready. Oh, no. Yeah, that's safer. This is a clean root. It should have been safe, but again, if I had major data that was still dirty in memory and I did that, I could have ended up corrupted.
Yep, that's why I caught myself.
See if you can go on the left window, do a check config DMF off. On the left, CHK. DMF off. And tape, TMF, try it. Oh, too late. That's good enough. Yeah. They'll blow up anyways because there's no root. Notice it's complaining there's no kernel there. Or, I mean, no kernel modules. The lib64 directory's gone now from the upgrade.
So how's it going to wake up again then?
We've got a new kernel.
Oh, it'll find it.
So on shutdown it's saying, I'm looking for old kernels, but you just removed it, so it's a don't care.
That makes sense.
But there are times where I have to go into rescue mode, tar up of lib modules, and then put it onto the system where it's out of sync.
Yep. Yeah. Rescue boots have saved my bacon once or twice in the past.
Yes.
My My favorite of which was when I was trying to do a reboot of my laptop, and oh man, I was having some very serious problems with a faulty logic one. The rescue mode allowed me to get some of at least diagnose the problem in the first place.
Yep. Now, the one thing I like on a UV is with FAT and EFI, I've got an intermediate stage that at least if I can get to the FS, I can look at kernels and stuff. With Grub, I don't have that intermediate stopover point.
Mm-hmm. Remind me, Grub is from, is that GNU?
Well, I don't want to call it GNU, Grand Unified. It's okay. Just, we had eLilo, actually it's just Lilo, then eLilo, then Grub, and now Grub 2.
Okay.
The Grub standing for a unified booter. I don't know if it's GNU licensed or not, but it doesn't matter to me. Go ahead.
I was just curious. Anytime I see a G in something, I think GNU.
So when we come back up, I want to build those LUNs.
Yep. Absolutely. All right.
But at this point, everything we do in the system together, let's record it.
Yep. No, the recorder's still going now.
By the way, I never did hear from Tom or Steve on decisions. I'm still going with my original plan, but I myself am questioning it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is, after testing yesterday,
yeah.
If you remember, we weren't getting full bandwidth out of 8 drives.
Oh, yeah.
And I went in last night and looked at the SCSI block layer to up the max DMA size, and LVM won't let me. XVM would.
Okay.
So I'm still going to go 8+1, but that might not be the most efficient. Trouble is if I go 4+1, then I've lost more capacity because now I've got basically an 8+2 that's split into 4+1.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lose 73 terabyte of disk space.
Right.
I'm surprised that I'm not seeing anything over on the right. Is it really just sitting there like that?
Might be. Give it 1 or 2 more minutes.
If you hit a return in the right window, does it do anything?
Still churning.
We may end up with rescue mode sooner.
Yeah.
But it's sitting there on NVMe for some reason. So this is why I made a backup of that 63 kernel.
Mm-hmm.
over on the left,
Yeah.
let's go into TFTP boot Pixie.
Mm-hmm.
No, back up. / TFTP boot. No, back up. / in the front. Oh, there, it's not liking the NVMe over on the right. Interesting. And then CD into Pixie. LS. So I think it was 35. Do a VI on 35. So it was CentOS. Let's change that to SLES old.
Mm-hmm. Okay. SLES old, one word?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see it's the second stanza, but go back in there.
Yeah.
See the
Sure.
second section there? So it's the 63 kernel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Actually, we're probably going to have to go rescue first. Let's go back in there and change that to SLES install, I think it is.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay.
So I don't, on the right, if I weren't in a GUI, if I was coming in through an ASCII console with IPMI tool, I could pipe it and save it off. So it certainly had problems with NVMe here, but we didn't have that problem on Trillion, so I'm not sure why there would be a difference. The hard part is not being able to scroll back and see what the error is that was going on there. Okay, let's go on the right. Let's reset, power reset.
Yep.
And we're going to Pixie boot into rescue mode.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know, we'd have to have something go wrong.
Part of the game.
Like I say, I always say problems right now are good because I don't have a clock running on me. Management over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Maybe another hour, but not right now.
Yeah. But hopefully we'll have we'll be able to get more guidance on the design later. All right.
Tom's been sick still, but mostly I wanted him to vet it with SGI.
Uh-huh.
But I've explained to you all the different trade-offs and reasonings as to why I chose what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been about 5 years ago. I had when the kernel people changed it, and I couldn't change the max DMA size anymore, and they went in and fixed that for me. But that wasn't LVM or
Yeah.
so. Pixie booting. One more. One more. No. Go to the right. Go to the right. One more.
Oh.
Override. Use the override. Go down. No. There you are. Yep.
Sorry.
There. Up one. Up.
This
Where
one?
are you going? Up one more. The first one.
Okay.
That's your gig E. Go ahead. Now you can hit enter. But this is an exact case of where I wish that when they installed the kernel, they would not do an upgrade and leave both kernels there. Then I would have been able to boot on the older kernel without having to do this monkey business.
Yep.
I think I've been complaining about that for 20 years or more.
Okay, I had teachers at the university who are still complaining about a lot of the IEEE standards. Okay.
So this anything, just SGI is fine right now.
All right.
Go ahead, okay. Automatic is fine. We do have a problem with automatic DHCP. It's not getting the DNS properly, and I don't know why. That's okay, expected. Okay. Okay. Start. Yep. That's fine. That's good. Yep. Okay. That's fine.
I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of some of this. I've gone into the BIOS many times now.
Yeah. I'm trying to get some repetition for you here.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
That's why I'm trying to just, right now is your chance to keep me from doing things for you, and you have to fight on your own. 15, yep. No, there you go, enter. Install /SLES11 SP4. Oop. There you go.
There you go.
Yes.
What's this tape that I was seeing just a moment ago? I thought we weren't doing anything with MVHDL.
Well, it still got installed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just type in root, DF. We are a memory resident root. Okay? We're running on initRD. Doing LSCSI. We don't even have LSCSI in rescue mode. Oh, there we are. Sometimes you don't have it, so our root is SDC. So here's the fun part now. I sent this in an email, and we'll come back to it as needed.
Yep.
I don't know how you want to remember this all, but let's mount. Over on the right, mount /dev/SDC2/dev. Oh, this is an LVM. I'm sorry, back up. We need LV scanned. Do an LV scan. So we want to mount that /root A root. Mount /dev/SLES-root A /root space /MNT. Yep. Let's ls/MNT. Oops. Yep. So there's a root there. And OpenVault's putting a log file in /. Anyway.
Yep. Okay.
You'd think somebody would have complained about that by now. Okay, now we need to mount boot. So mount /dev/SDC1. onto /mnt/boot. No, mnt boot. You get what we're doing? We're constructing a new root, or go ahead.
Yeah. MNT is just our scratch space, though, right?
Yes, that's just a stub for us to mount onto.
Okay.
Now here's the messy part. Mount-O bind, B-I-N-D. So it's going to bind /dev space /dev into space MNT dev /MNT space. Nope, back up. Missing a space. Keep going. One more. There. Dev /dev space. Yep. MNT /MNT. No, I don't know what the DDD is. Back up. One more. /boot. So we're mounting dev into the new root. No. Other way around. MNT boot.
Oh, sorry.
Now, does that make sense?
Yes.
So we're creating a dev inside that root. If you don't have dev inside that root, password won't work because it needs the random generator that dev creates and stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead and hit enter. And let's do it again, but this time mount sys into that. So replace dev with sys and boot with sys. Oh, and what am I doing? I made a mistake here. I'm really losing my focus here. Back up. We needed to U-mount MNT boot. U-mount MNT boot. Oops, typo. Now I have an anxiety complex. No. Go ahead. The dev needed to get mounted on /dev, not /boot.
Yeah. Okay, let's try that again.
No.
Okay.
The whole thing, just type it over. Mount.
All right, hold on.
-o bind /dev /mnt/dev space. No, back up. After dev, back up. 4 more. 1 more. Space there. /mnt/dev. Okay.
Yes. Let's try this.
So I'm losing my train of thought because so much distraction on my part, but I'm sorry. So anyway, now we're going to do the sys. I don't think we did the sys yet, so now we're mounting /sys into MNT sys.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. So I'm trying to make you think about this. Is that what we've done now? So we've got this file system sitting out there. We've assembled a new root. So now CHROOT to MNT.
Ah.
Enter. No, just MNT.
Oh.
You are now inside that root.
Yes.
CD to /ROOT. LS. Can't really tell from that, but this is your root. CD into user local. LS. And there's our mega RAID storage manager.
Sure enough.
CD into /boot. /
Oh, yep.
So we were talking about different roots. Chroot just gave you a new root as reference. You're still running the old kernel and everything. So there's our 94 kernel. So we could try to SFTP a 63 kernel in here, but instead, let's go into lib modules. LS.
Mm-hmm.
And let's move BAK, or actually move, how can we do this? Move the 63 default out of the way first.
Okay.
Just call it a ridge or something.
Oh, what?
Call it SGI. It's SGI's stuff in there. Go ahead, enter. I'm just pushing it out of the way.
Yeah. Okay.
And then move BAK into that 63 path.
Okay.
So I'm kind of glad that I did a backup of it before we rebooted.
Okay.
Now, my other choice would have been to try to get a 63 kernel onto /boot. But anyway, the current kernel 94 is having problems, so I need to basically roll back my kernel. That's what we did here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do an exit. And you're back to the initRD root.
Yep.
So now let's just do an init6. And we're going to try to pixie boot off that 63 kernel now. Go ahead, init6.
Pixie boot. Okay.
Now over on the left,
Mm-hmm.
I'm jumping all around. Edit that splat35 and change it to SLES11 again.
All right.
So what we just did was we went rescue mode to put that lib modules directory back in place so that when we boot this Pixie kernel, 63 kernel, there are kernel modules so this got networks and stuff. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so now we're going to try to Pixie boot off that 63 kernel.
Oh, let me get ready with delete then.
When do you, you're leaving tomorrow?
Yep, bright and early. Flying out of BWI.
San Francisco, did you say?
Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. Oh, less water there.
Yeah, I don't have as many friends in San Francisco. Amazon is the big draw for a lot of University of Maryland students.
It's about time for Pacifica to be sliding into the Pacific again. You saw San Jose's underwater?
Yeah.
I think their drought's over for at least this year.
At least, and good timing too. So everything is ready to go for their GTC conference.
I think California got all the Minnesota weather, the rain, because we're in a drought here now. We haven't had any snow.
Yeah, I have family up in Hopkins there, and I've been hearing about that. The funny thing is, I've well and truly not experienced real Minnesota winter, because whenever we go up to visit family, we go during the summertime when Lake Minnetonka is nice.
Yeah.
So
did you try an F12 or?
Oh, did I tried delete. All right, let me try again.
Go up to power control and just do a reset again.
Yeah.
See, I wish that screen you're looking at there would have had both kernels.
Yeah.
My other option there would have been go to rescue mode, find the RPM for the older kernel, and install it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have to force to say I'm downgrading my kernel. That would be the other way of doing it. Then I would have both kernels in that Pixie boot menu.
Mm-hmm.
Give a class 12 people, 12 a problem, and you'll have 24 solutions, right?
Yep. Hmm.
So we're just trying to get back to a good kernel that will boot.
Yep.
See, Trillion, we don't have NVMe on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we've got everything upgraded but the kernel, but we're going to have to run with the older kernel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now again, even though we've installed DMF, my intent was not to get it up and running or anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go.
One more. I don't know why you keep going there. There you go, down to override. Nope, up.
Up.
I don't know. Up to the first gig E.
Yeah.
There you go. So we're just trying to get back to a good root, good kernel that boots.
Yep. Makes sense.
So commonly you use this word signature. What's the signature of the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that one, I was just seeing it stopped and hung on that NVMe P1.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you got some sort of panic or error message, you're just trying to characterize what that signature looks like and say, next time I see it, I know, that it's happening more than once.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Something happened wrong here, though. We're in an install kernel. We're not. What's going on here?
I don't know.
Go back to the left. What happened to our Pixie, the 35 one?
Less old.
And SLES11 is 60.
It's one word, right?
So there's something going wrong here, but even our device was wrong. We had a different root device. Let's continue booting off of this. Go ahead and hit OK. Let's go back to rescue mode.
All right.
But I don't know why that. Let's see, 53. It's the right IP. I'm not sure why it didn't pick that change up. May as well quit. Oh no, we still need to. We're trying to get the actual path to the root. It was like deb SLES root A root. Go up to that SLES11 while we're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So that root B on SLES11, go down to the actual section. Down 2 more lines, 1 more line. There we are. Over to root B. No, up. Over to the root B.
Mm-hmm.
And it was SLES root A. Back up. So root B is actually SLES dash root A.
Huh. Okay. So
let's confirm it. Go to the right. Let's get to root. Enter. Okay. That's okay. No, yep. Start rescue. Network. Yep. 10.1.10. Yes. Yep.
All right.
Doesn't matter, just hit enter. And I know why I didn't pick up that. We were in the wrong Pixie boot file on the left. That's fine. 15, I'm sorry, 15. That's okay. 10.1.10, 15. /install SLES11 SP4.
All right.
Okay, well, let's hit enter. Okay, go back to the left and get out of there. We're in the wrong Pixie file, that's why.
Oh.
That one's for NFS server. So we wanted the 36.
All right.
And that's why. So there's SLES install. Change that to SLES old.
One word?
Yes.
All right.
And then go down to that SLES old section.
Oh,
we're not done yet. Okay, go over to the right, root equals.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now right there. So over on the right now, let's log in and get the actual LV scan. So it's SLES-root A/root. See that?
Yep. So we'll switch that here.
Yes.
Okay. So?
And then you still have root A. You need to add the SLES-.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
I'm a little bothered on the right. We're missing a couple of logical volumes for some reason. We got journal spool home temp. I'm not sure why there's no live arc or backups. There were some other files we seem to be missing. So we're not doing too good for some reason. Let's quit out of that Pixie boot on the left. And let's just, on the right now, reboot, but Pixie boot again. In fact, this time, let's change the boot order to Pixie boot all the time.
Okay. Here we go.
But I was expecting LV scan to show me we must have missed the backups in a couple of the other partitions yesterday.
I don't know if we did live arc or not.
Yeah, as a trainer, I always laugh, like when Hillary Clinton had lost her voice and was trying to talk.
Oh, I remember.
I 10 years ago had tickler cough all the time, very distracting as an instructor. Ended up being from snoring, and I ended up with a CPAP.
Mm-hmm.
You get delete key hit in there?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the hard part. I'll forget. I'll chew the time up, go off to do something else, and then forget. Oh, I missed it. And now I got to reset again.
Yep. I think I got it. Okay.
So boot, and let's change the boot order.
Yeah.
Just go to the top one, up to. Hit enter. Go down to that GE slot. Hit enter.
Okay.
And F4.
All right.
Okay, let's do a power reset.
Yep. You ready? Hit delete.
So I figure when you get back, just take NFS server and play with it for a week or two.
Yep. Absolutely.
But we got kind of a couple of things going on now. NFS server to finish that for repetition.
Mm-hmm.
The benchmarking or some sort of disk testing on request sizes.
Uh-huh.
Anyway. Now, by default, with this PCP and Systat for SAR are already installed. It would just be like Ganglia and Monet that would be relevant for us. But again, I was going to leave instrumentation to the next module when we get there. Let's just get cleaned up with what we got.
Yep.
So it looks like it's going to Pixie boot correctly. Found a 63 kernel. Now again, if that lib modules directory wasn't there, you would still boot, but networks won't work. There's no kernel module loaded for network because there are no modules.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope it looks like it's going to get past it this time. So I'm not going to pursue that NVMe panic problem. Oh, darn. What it's trying to, it can't find the root that I thought we spelled it right. Do an O, do an N. So let's reboot back to Pixie, or go to the left. Let's get it back to rescue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's SLES-install.
Mm-hmm.
Now the other possibility is it doesn't have LVM in that init.rd. That's another possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I think I need to take a little break here, probably a good idea. Let's come back at past.
Sure.
So I just gotta go use the bathroom.
Yep, I'll stop the recording.
No, just keep it running, it's okay.
All right.
You back yet? You back yet? Hello? Hello?
Hey.
Hello?
All right.
So, just for review, our kernel was having problems with the NVMe device. When we upgraded, we got a newer kernel. And now we're trying to regress and get back to a kernel that works. Okay?
Yep.
So, since we can't boot, we have to go rescue. So, let's get back to rescue mode on the right there.
Yep.
When I did that move and copy of that lib modules to BAK, that was kind of a lazy way of doing things. I should have just installed the kernel.
You have a new message from 837401. Here is the message. Ryan Ericit is your Yahoo account key.
All right. Um, 54.
Hang on. this was, yes, 54.
Okay, that's good.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Just hit enter. $15. Enter. 10, 1, 10, 15. Install. Yep. SLES11. Oops. 11 dash. 11 dash. Back up. There we are. Go ahead. That was my naming convention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's see if we can do all those mounts.
Yeah.
So root. First of all, I'll do an LV scan. And over on the left, what did we use for root?
Let's see.
/dev /SLES - root A / root. Looks right, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm suspecting that the initRD that we had out there did not have LVM kernel modules in it or something.
Yep.
So let's, first of all, try pinging 10.1.10.1. Okay, so we don't have networks. So again, this was in an old email, and we'll come back to this to document this procedure. It's kind of handy to have it as a note, but to turn the network on, let's do an ifconfig. Oh, hold it before we do that. Just pipe in more. What's our ifconfig pipe to more? What's our interface name? Oh, we don't even have an interface name there yet. So let's try a again ifconfig space ETH0 space 10.1.10.54
Right.
space netmask and then space 0x and then 6 F's FF 00. No 6. I just want 0x and then FF 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 0. Enter. See if we can ping anything.
Okay.
And now we can ping. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now let's put together that root. We're going to mount /dev /SLES, what was it? SLES - root A
Mm-hmm.
/root onto MNT space /MNT. Looks good.
Here we go.
Yep. Now let's mount /dev. Let's see. Hang on a second. LSCSI. I think it's C, but let's double check. So it is C. So let's mount /dev /STC1. Back up. You got SDC D. You got a T. 1. Yep. Space /MNT /boot. Okay. Enter. Now mount -o bind. Space /sys or /dev. Let's do dev first that's fine. /sys. Either one. Dev space. Yeah. Space /MNT space, there we are, MNT space sys/sys. No, one word, MNT/MNT/sys, one mount point.
Here we go.
Okay. That makes sense now?
Yeah, it does.
And then do this, go ahead, enter, do the same thing for dev.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Root into it.
And here we go.
Ping 10.1.10.1. So we do have a network. Control C out of that. Now keep in mind, I could have not cherooted and I could have copied something into this root partition.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of cherooting, I could have CD'd into MNT root and put something there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to actually have grabbed the kernels for the newer one. So SFTP to 10.1.10.53.
All right.
Go ahead. I spelled FTP wrong.
FTP?
SFTP.
Oh, SFTP. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right?
Yep.
And
SGI.
okay.
LS. So we have kernels there. mget kernel. Asterisk mget KER splat. That's good. Quit out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And let's install them. Quit.
Oh, quit. Okay.
Or exit should work too. So LS, we have 3 RPMs in there. Do an RPM-IVH. All one, yeah, there you go. And then asterisk RPM. It needs the kernel source too. Hang on. Go back to NFS server. Actually, no, let's do it this way. SFTP to 10.1.10.15. 15, not 1.
Oh, 15, sorry.
Secret. CD into /install SLES11-SP4. And then that's CD into SUSE. CD into x86-64. Yeah, there you go. Underscore.
Is it? Not like that.
Yeah, the up arrow won't work.
All right.
There you go. So, no, that's a big one. So LS on kernel-source, I believe it was. Kernel-source asterisk.
Yep.
So let's get that one. mget. We could have probably, oops, you got it spelled wrong. We could have probably installed without that kernel source, but.
Okay.
Put out of there. And now try your up arrow to the RPM. There you are. Try that one.
Yep.
So it's complaining. We've already got one installed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a dash force. I'm surprised it doesn't say anything there, but Try a RPM -- force or enter. So we have to specify and force a downgrade. I'm not going to worry about that. And right now it's making the init RD. Notice there, right down the bottom middle, dm-mod is the LVM kernel module that I suspect was missing. Again, I'm not going to worry about that file descriptor 62 stuff. So again, it's still running make init RD. Okay, what's that last thing there? Bootloader problem too. Did it like? Let's do an ls on /boot. So is the 63 is in there now? Good. ls on lib modules. And we got the 63 in there as well. Now what happened because of my old one and the new one? They seem to, where they did do an ls-lt on that. What's the newest one? So no, on the directory we were just in, up arrow. There we are. Do ls-lt there. So it looks like the reason our boot didn't work was we misspelled when we created that backup and put it back.
Oh. Yeah.
So I'm suspecting that's what happened, but I'm not going to confirm that right now. Did you get my point?
Yeah.
So if the kernel can't find the kernel modules for LVM, then it's not going to find the root.
Yep.
Right? So that's just an assumption, but now we've doubled up here. So now go into, we are in /cd into /boot. ls splat 63 splat. So I want to push that VM Linux and initRD off to FCL server. So let's SFTP to FCL-server. I'm assuming the lib modules typo was the main reason.
Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Yep.
All right.
And then go into TFTP boot.
Hold on. All right.
So we want to input the VM Linux 63 thing there. I don't splat 63 - default. Okay. And then the other one was the initRD. CD TFTP boot. And then input the initRD 63. Oh, initRD no dot splat 63 - default. Oop.
Typo.
Yeah, you don't have up arrow. Okay. So quit out of there. That was just a double safety check. So we have it both now on /boot and off on the Pixie server. I'm suspecting our prior problem when we rolled back to the 63 kernel was the misspelling of that libmodules directory. But at this point, by the way, when we were in rescue mode, the only thing, after you did the chroot and stuff, you can use the password command to break in. So you now know how to break in. But again, password will fail if dev isn't mounted within that chroot. Because it needs the random seed generator. So I think we're ready to try a reboot again. Let's just do your power reset.
Yep.
Let's just see if it will pixie boot. So again, repetition and being able to think it out on your own. It's not that I've been that good on keeping on top of it either.
Right.
It's kind of like I pull out of here and find myself driving to work instead of the grocery store or something. You ever do that?
Yeah, I know the feeling well.
There's one corner coming out of the neighborhood and you, by habit, turn the wrong direction.
Yep.
So what time next week, Thursday or Friday, when were you going to be able to get back?
Oh, I'm flying back on Monday.
I mean, in terms of this lab, when do you think you might get back? Tuesday?
We'll see. Yeah, maybe Tuesday. I'll be recovering from a jet lag that day, but I think I certainly need to work on something. So yeah, that'll probably be the best.
You know, the nice thing about Seattle, they pay you to be an alcoholic or a drug addict.
I know.
Oakland, they pay you to not be a gangster.
Yep.
I could make sarcastic jokes about paying illegal immigrants for something, but I won't. Yeah. I'm a moderate, and both sides are a little wacky on me right now.
Now, the best part about Seattle, at least from what I'm seeing, is that it's the running joke is that nobody drives anymore. Everybody just takes Uber. Because it's just that kind of town. It's not as good as Pittsburgh, where you can actually get a free Uber if you choose to ride in the driverless cars.
Does that include sexual harassment? No, I'm joking. That's what they're going through now. Anyway, I have a friend that's an aeronautical engineer at Boeing in the Seattle area, but I've only gone through the airport. Never actually gone into Seattle.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Okay, so this didn't work right. Let's go back to your left.
Yeah.
I'm not focusing enough here too much, so we need to change. No dash. Yeah.
Try this again.
Yep. Again, there's two sides of the equation, having a smooth without any problems and the usefulness of seeing problems and identifying quickly what the problem is. So.
Yep.
But I don't know, I've been kind of sloppy. I need the distractor, getting off track.
Yeah, it's getting, we've been going at this for almost 3 hours.
But I'd have a class, one class in particular that was all Pakistani students when I was in Malaysia. And I couldn't understand them and they couldn't understand me, and we both were speaking English.
Yep.
And they would want me to slow down. And the problem is when I don't know how to slow down. And when I do, I lose my train of thought quicker.
Yep. Yeah, I've had professors like that as well.
I rarely, in the old days, would lose my train of thought, but I haven't done this kind of stuff in 3 years now. Anyway, let's hope that resolves that problem. And if we boot off a disk, then the grub menu should come up with 2 kernels. But right now we're just booting off a Pixie to get past this. But this is a common complaint and problem that after I upgrade, I've got problems with my newer kernel. And now the problem is to be able to boot to something that works such that I can downgrade my kernel.
Yep.
So even though this was painful, it was a good experience, and we'll have to go through it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But instead of just copying that one directory, I should have gone off and grabbed the RPMs and just correctly installed both kernels. There is the ability within YAS to lock the kernel RPMs and say, don't upgrade those modules. So some sites will do that to avoid that. You know, it's always the old story, how much is broken and how much is fixed when you're done. Clearly, this kernel broke so bad it won't even boot.
Yep. I've seen the XKCDs about that. The parental warning. Parents, talk to your children about Linux before someone else does.
Yeah. Well, I got a little embarrassed because somebody called me for help on their Linux system that they'd gotten from Computers for People or something like that. And I get there and it's Mint. And I don't know Mint. And they knew Mint better than me. And this was, like a 35-year-old woman that was a newbie, so to speak, and knew Mint, and I didn't.
Yep.
The desktop. I said, "Oh, how can you stand this?" But that's what they're putting on all the recycled PCs. So in order for her to have support for it, we put Mint back on it. But
yeah, I've used Ubuntu and briefly Debian my early years of college before I got.
This is the spot where we hung last time. I didn't get a chance to see. One of the things I don't like with this is the that KVM window. I can't scroll back up and see things. I'm not even sure what kernel I actually booted on.
Hold on.
I had wanted to check to see what kernel we actually did come up on.
Yeah, I lost my internet briefly here. So.
But this is not looking good. This almost looks like the same.
No, I lost. I shouldn't need to have a constant connection to the VPN on my end, should I?
You're saying the VPN dropped?
Or something happened on my end because I just briefly lost internet access for maybe 5 seconds.
I think it should be okay. I saw it blink there for a second.
Yeah.
Let's just exit that terminal and go back to the browser and open up a new terminal.
Sure.
Management seems to think everything is perfect and everything always works perfect. Okay, so it did get past it.
Okay. And it was just as I suspected.
Now, while you're gone, I'm going to probably check on that kernel on the NFS server because that one has NVMe as well and see if there's a better kernel to choose.
That
just
works.
out of habit, to pick up newer kernels. So once this is booted, we should be okay with our upgrade, except for the kernel.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried about that from the beginning anyways.
Yep.
Not so sure about that boot.udev failure there. I'm not worried about the kdump one. That don't matter to me.
Yep.
In fact, the kdump is another thing I've been trying to get working on these boxes, but SGI has a special patch for them, and it looks like it's all about the BIOS. What do we got there? So notice it did not find a module there.
Mm-hmm.
So because of our reinstalling the kernel, we did not run the SGI post upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore we don't have SGI kernel modules in that libmodules directory anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I figure once we get this booted, we're pretty much going to wrap up here.
Yep.
Just try. So log in.
All right.
Let's do a check config TS off. Oh, let's do TMF first. Try check config TMF off. Oop.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
And now try the TS. So that was tape stuff part of DMF. Do a DF. So again, we must have forgotten several file systems yesterday for DMF.
Yeah.
We don't have the backups and the live arc, but we'll come back to all of that later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't want to do a zipper update because of the newer kernel. Do a uname-a. So we are running on a 63 kernel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's do the SGI-post-upgrade. I needed break out of there, Control C. It needed a dash capital A and a little R.
Yep. That's good.
So you connected when we reinstalled the 63 kernel,
Mm-hmm.
the SGI kernel modules were still in that cloned directory that was misspelled.
Yeah.
So that's why we had to do this. I'm not sure that it even liked that.
Yeah.
Let's do a mod probe.
It's still
demapping.
running.
Oh, okay.
I think it is.
There was a little bit more error message than I was expecting there, but it goes through multiple kernels. So if you can give me maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
See, I don't like that message there. It's looking for the 94 kernel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a warning.
Yep.
By the way, while we're talking about this, SLES guarantees that kernel modules built against a SLES11 SP4 kernel are always valid for update kernels. They don't break the AVI, the programming interface to the kernel. Red Hat is not the same. So in Red Hat, for example, the GPU-DB people wanted kernels or NVIDIA drivers built when they got new kernels. But if I am on a Red Hat 7.0 system and I do an update, I might find myself at a 7.2 version rather than 7.0. So SLES and Red Hat are a little bit different there. I'm at SP3, an update just gets SP3 patches. But on Red Hat, when I do update, it brings me up to the most current of everything. They don't have this service. They mark them as a service pack, but when you update, you're not staying within that service pack set of RPMs. That makes sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, do a VI on ITSI hosts. I'm sorry, ITSI MOTD. MOTD, message of the day. Open, just put something in there. Future FCL- server controlled by John, something, just to mark it right now. I have kind of a generic one off the other systems that we'll get to at some point, but just mark it. Okay, let's go into YAST. So let's go to the network devices.
Okay.
And tab to network settings. I think we already did this, but let's just check. Do we have a, I don't see a scroll, tab into there and down arrow to the other bridges. Yes. Okay, so let's get out of there. Cancel is fine. Don't matter. That's either one. That's fine. We didn't have any changes. Go ahead. So now let's go back into the left there and go to network services. And we're just going through them here. Go to HTTP server first, up one.
Yes.
So that's from DMF. That's okay. Go ahead, continue. And I'll have to look at that later when we get to it. We're only going to listen to 54. I guess we could listen to the local host too, but what did you do? What was the port before?
80.
80? Well, no, we want to keep it at 80.
Oh.
I'm saying the IP address that we listen on.
Oh, okay.
Turn off that one. Just space bar. That's good. So we can listen on localhost and on the network. Okay, next. Yep. We should add in Python probably.
Yeah.
And I don't care about Perl, but anyway, we can always add that later. Next. So tab to next.
Next.
Yep.
And
finish.
All right.
So it was missing a couple of RPMs that it's getting because we have a repository.
Mm-hmm.
Now there were a couple of things in there that we might have to come back to later. Go down now to NF. We want to get to NFS server. Start. Tab to local domain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our other domain, fcl.pedcentric.com. Nope, no local. No, get rid of the early stuff. Dot. SCL dot. If we don't do that, when you're in NFS, the owners will show up as nobody instead of the owner. Go ahead. And then add. Tab to the add directory. Enter. /home. And tab to OK. We don't need the slash. Get rid of the second slash. Get rid of the second slash.
All right.
There you go. OK. And tab to finish.
All right.
Okay. And that NFS meter was picky about the squash and stuff, but NIS client, next one.
All right.
Use, so space bar to use NIS. There you go. Tab to the domain. One more. FCL. I didn't make it fancy. It's just FCL. Nope.
Oh,
just FCL.
All right.
And the NIS server is 10.1.10.15.
All right.
We will be changing. We will be changing this when we swap. So here's where you need your F10.
All right.
And by the way, you could close your window. I could come in and grab your window right where you are.
Yep.
And there is a keystroke here called Control L. Hit a Control L.
Just did.
It should refresh your screen. So if you ever have a corrupted screen,
yeah,
if it's mangled or whatever, Control L is a refresh.
Got it.
Okay, let's NTP.
All right.
Two more. Go ahead. And now end on boot. Yep. Tab down to add. Oops, there we go, add. And we want an incoming broadcast. 10.1.10.1. Now we could come off of a public, but basically I wanted everything in the lab to come off one within the lab.
Sure.
Tap to OK. Okay. And let's I think we're pretty much done.
All right.
Let's tab the app quit. Can you ping 192.168.10.20? Yes.
Yep.
So that is working too deep. That's deep. That's the 10 gig. We're done as far as I'm concerned right now.
Yep. Very good.
Just do a reboot. Nope. Not quite yet. Reboot it
right.
just to ensure that it reboots.
Yep. That's that'll be good.
And then once it boots fairly cleanly, we're done.
Yep. Excellent.
Now, after we've got everything kind of settled down, then we're going to move into instrumentation and SAR and PCP and all that sort of stuff.
No, I like this kind of setup. This is very healthy for me.
Well, like I say, the test is on your own when you get back on NFS server.
Yeah, I know.
And as far as I'm concerned, you could do this route over again too next week. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I'll start with.
Now's your opportunity to play.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to do a lot of that next week. I'm in between certifications right now, so this feels I'll have more time to do this.
once these two boxes are in place, we don't have any storage to play with anymore. That's why I was trying to get you to look at. Oh, that's right. We never did build our LUNs. We'll build our LUNs next time.
Okay. That works.
I don't know why I missed it on my to-do list here.
I think it was on the to-do list. We just got
I know.
late.
But I'm just kind of going through the list I had here and missed it.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, we forgot to build the LUNs.
Mm-hmm.
That's fairly easy, but in any event.
Yeah.
Great. So if this boot's okay, we're done.
Yep.
Regarding stopping recorders, it's easier just to let it run during a break because you might end up forgetting to turn it on when you're back.
Yep, this is true.
And the same thing, starting a day, it's better just to be in the habit of starting it. What I wish I could do is edit better so that if I decide that I've got something there, I can pull out all the crud. But it's easier just to pull a slider forward and skip over the boring stuff.
Yep.
It's not like VHS tape anymore. It's even easier than a DVD.
I hear you.
By the way, I hope using NFS Server 1 doesn't get us into trouble. There was a certificate generated, and also on that web server we saw where it was using the NFS FCL-Server 1 for a host name. So there is a YAST screen to change the host name, so that should fix those other files that are related to the initial installation host name. Also, we could set FirstBoot, and then FirstBoot would go through all of that again on boot, just like sending it to a customer.
Yep.
I think I went through almost a whole cup of sugar here this afternoon. Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
Every time I start coughing, I had Kool-Aid going down the wrong pipe.
Well, for me, it's lemonade. Oh, this is where it was taking a while before.
A while last time.
Yeah.
If we could scroll up, there was some NVMe that was in there just in front of this, and this is where
I can't scroll.
Yeah, I know. But this is where it crashed on the newer kernel, was in the same area. But I'm going to see what I can do with NFS-server. Oops. Come on. When I say it's even worse, a large UV can take an hour,
Yeah.
mostly because of the memory.
Mm-hmm. Ah.
Okay, so let's wait for it to get and just quickly see that it is usable. I'm still not sure why we have that boot.udev error.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look at that some other time. I don't care about iSCSI or the other ones. I'm just thinking the UDEV might have still been related to the NVMe. So if you get bored on vacation, look at the FIO command.
Uh-huh.
And I'll send you an email of what my script is looking like and what the output looks like right now. But so there, what's that? It's still complaining about NVMe, huh?
Uh-huh.
I do have an NVMe RPM from SGI. Maybe that'll help me. But there's definitely something going wrong. We got several problems still. It didn't seem to find the NFS kernel module.
Okay.
We turned DMF off. Okay, so log in, root.
I'm in.
What was it? Do a DF. Do we have a home? CD into /home. Touch a file. Just
nothing there.
Yeah, I know. Touch. Oops.
Oh, tough. There we go.
Do an ID DAW. Space. ID space. No.
Oh.
ID space DAW. That'll confirm NIS, so it does find me. I think we're done.
All right. Excellent.
Oh, hang on. That's
Oop.
I was going to say uname-a, but that's good enough. I can log in and poke around anyways. So I may log in over the week, but I'm obviously shut out on the system, and I wanted that on purpose, so I want you to have to go through it all. Okay, well, you have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
All right, see you next week, Dave.
I appreciate your patience, and just plow through the stuff as we go.
You
bet. Have a good
one.
one.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.